As a former Foreign Secretary, let me ask you first of all about the Defence Investment Plan. We're told we are going to get it this week. It looks as though they found an extra 1.5 billion. Are you pleased that that is now coming?
Well, the fact is, it is late and it is short. The Chief of the Defence Staff has said that we need to spend 28 billion to match the requirement. So this extra 1.5 billion is frankly far too little. We have got real threats in the Middle East, Russia's invasion of Ukraine, and a need to rearm, re-equip, and to modernise. And that requires money. Now, as Conservatives, we have said we will replace the two-child benefit cap, we will reduce the welfare bill, we will invest in our armed forces, in the people and equipment. And frankly, Labour are falling woefully short of the minimum requirement.
People listening to this, though, will say, look, Labour inherited a situation from the Conservatives where they had been severely underfunded, hollowed out, as your Defence Secretary himself said.
Well, you've got to remember that when we were in government, for the majority of the time we were in government, military commitments were reducing. We came out of Iraq, we came out of Afghanistan. And there were demands, particularly, remember, because of COVID, for a shift of public expenditure towards public protection programs, furlough scheme, for example. But we were also really agile when it came to supporting Ukraine in its self-defence. We had a rearmament plan that Labour scrapped, and we have got a plan to fund defence, and Labour doesn't. And they are in government. It is unacceptable, completely unacceptable, that they're not doing this. And indeed, Radek Sikorski, the Polish foreign minister, who's a good friend to the UK, respects us enormously, said that a country that is spending 68 billion on defence but 360 billion on welfare is not taking the threat seriously. And we
What
should listen
level
to
do you
criticism like
think
that.
Britain should be announcing now, spending on now? Because we've got Admiral Sir Tony Radakin writing in the Sunday Times today, pointing out the commitments that Keir Starmer actually made with President Trump to increase spending to 3.5% of GDP by 2035. We haven't even got a date when we're going to hit 3%. We're way behind that so far. And as Tony Radakin points out, we are laggards when it comes to looking at the league table of spending within NATO.
Well, I worked with Admiral Radakin very closely when I was Foreign Secretary and he was Chief of the Defence Staff. This is a guy who knows what he's talking about and should be listened to. The problem with this Labour government is they seem to think that talking about stuff is the same as doing stuff. And they're kicking the can down the road. That 3.5% by 2035 is a hollow, meaningless commitment unless they get to 3% almost immediately. And they could, and they should. Had the Prime Minister, had Keir Starmer not been so weak and capitulated to his own backbenchers when he was trying to reduce the welfare budget, there would be money to spend in the here and now. But the
Well,
truth of the
Andy
matter
Burnham has
is the
said that
Labour
he.
Party would rather spend.
Well, Andy Burnham
Sorry, go
has
on.
said that he would like to spend more money on defence. Do you expect the new Labour leader, almost certainly our next Prime Minister, to look again at this and find significantly more money and make that commitment of where we're going to get to by 2030?
Well, Andy Burnham is largely untested. He's very popular. I mean, I've met him, I know him fairly well, and I like him a lot. But the fact is, the Mayor of Manchester job is a high-profile but low-power position. He's not really had to make difficult decisions. An early test of his mettle is whether he will stand up to Labour backbenchers and actually provide the money for defence, because that is the first duty of government. If he is unable to do that, then frankly, what is the point of him? So we need to see a really fast commitment. The defence industry needs that certainty. Our armed forces need that equipment. We as a country need a government that takes defence seriously.
You talk there about what you would expect him to do on defence. How, as an opposition, do you change your approach to Labour when it has this new leader?
Well, Keir Starmer was flat-footed, he wasn't adaptable, he wasn't agile, he wasn't a great communicator, and what the rumours that we hear around the Palace of Westminster is that he wasn't very good at engaging with Labour MPs. I expect Andy Burnham will be better at all those things, but really that needs to have something else. He needs to actually be decisive, he needs to show leadership. He needs to show a willingness not just to be popular, but to do the right things, including reducing our welfare budget, which has ballooned over Labour, and spending that money where it is needed, including deficit reduction and on defence. He needs to be tough on border control, and we've already seen the Home Secretary clearly trying to curry favour by weakening our immigration policies, or at least proposing to weaken the immigration policies. We're seeing that she is going to open massive asylum accommodation camps around the country, which is basically a tacit recognition that they still haven't got a grip of our borders. These are the things that he will need to do differently, because being a bit more of a charming communicator is not going to be enough.
Your leader, Kemi Badenoch, got quite a bit of criticism for her performance at Prime Minister's Questions. I was there earlier this week attacking various members of Keir Starmer's cabinet, including describing Bridget Phillipson as a spiteful class warrior. Do you think that sort of language is really the sort of tone that we expect from our political leaders?
Well, is that the same Bridget Phillipson who just a few minutes earlier had described a Conservative MP as a racist? So this is the thing that strikes me. Labour are very, very happy to call Conservatives scum, to call us racists, lower than vermin. These are all phrases that have been used by Labour politicians about the Conservatives. But when the leader of the opposition, when Kemi Badenoch, highlights the fact that this is a policy specifically designed to penalise parents who try and do the best for their own children, who is then completely dishonest about the number of teachers. The number of teachers in the UK has fallen, not risen. So that is spiteful. It is about class. Kemi called it out. Labour didn't like it, but she was actually right to highlight not only their ineptitude, but also their hypocrisy.
But Andy Burnham had a pretty swift response, didn't he, to her joust at him, saying that he was nothing but a black T-shirt and a pair of eyelashes.
Yeah, and look, as I say, I think Andy is a naturally better communicator than Keir Starmer. And being a good communicator is a necessary but not sufficient part of the job. Because if all he's going to do is better communicate Labour's catastrophic policies, then the country's not going to be in a better place. He needs to be and do very different things to Keir Starmer.
You've lived through an awful lot of changeovers at Number 10, swift transitions. Do you think it is a problem when you get an unelected leader swiftly put into place, as we're seeing this time, within 3 weeks? I mean, do you think the circumstances by which Andy Burnham is likely to become Prime Minister mean that he should call a general election?
Well, look, we don't have a presidential system, we have a parliamentary system, and the Prime Minister is the person with the permission of the King that can form and hold a majority in the House of Commons. My position on this has been consistent. I didn't call for general elections when we changed leaders, and my position hasn't changed. However, I do think Andy Burnham needs to be honest and open, because the British people, indeed even Labour backbenchers, have no idea what he stands for. This is a guy that was selling off bits of the NHS when he was health minister, and now he's talking about renationalising. This is a person who was an arch Blairite, Brownite, back when that was fashionable, who's now flirting with the hard left of the Labour Party. As I say, I think Andy Burnham is a smart operator. He's managed to clear the field. I mean, he got beaten by Ed Miliband and Jeremy Corbyn the last 2 times he ran, so this time he's made sure that no one's running against him, which seems to be a smart move. But it also means that we don't know what he's going to do, what he stands for, where the money's going to come from, where the money's going to go. So he needs to be open and explicit at the first opportunity.
And is part of the problem for you then that you actually just haven't got the money to fight a general election now?
Oh, I don't know where you got that from. We've had the most successful last couple of quarters when it comes to fundraising. Kemi is really infusing our activists, our donors, our elected councillors. She's the most popular political leader in the country. If we need to fight a general election, we have definitely got the people and the resources to fight that general election. But ultimately, what the country needs now is discipline when it comes to public spending and support for our armed forces and our defence. That needs to be the priority. If Andy Burnham is willing to get a grip of those things, then we will hold him to account, but we want to see the government doing right by the country. If he fails on those things, then we'll see what we can do about replacing him in short order.
James Cleverly, thanks so much.